The day began as every other for Isla, the orca. The Pacific stretched vast and calm, her pod swimming in synchronized harmony. But then it came, subtle at first, a tremor in the water, a vibration that didn't belong. Her sleek body halted mid-swim. The younger orcas chirped curiously, confused by her sudden pause. Isla never stopped. She clicked softly, her sonar scanning the currents. The usual chatter of seals and the hum of distant boats were absent. Instead, she heard it again. A faint, broken sound. A cry. It was weak, uneven, and human. She dove instinctively, her powerful tail cutting through the cold depths as she followed the sound. Her family stayed close, their whistles rising in concern. But Isla pushed forward. Something was wrong. What would you do if a sound didn't belong? Breaking the surface, Isla's sharp eyes scanned the horizon. Waves swelled gently in the endless blue, empty but for the faint outline of something. At first she thought it was driftwood, but then it moved, tiny fingers clutching the wood, a trembling, fragile hand. Her heart, if an orca could feel such a thing, pounded. It wasn't driftwood. It was a child. Alone, weak. Why was a boy here? Miles from shore, surrounded by nothing but the endless sea? His small body shook violently as he clung to the wood, his lips pale, his face streaked with salt water. Isla hesitated, instincts warring with logic. She had seen humans before, chaotic, loud creatures. But this one was different, quiet, helpless, and drowning. His grip slipped. The boy started to sink. Isla didn't think. She surged forward, her massive body breaking the water as she reached him. Can a creature decide to save a life? The boy didn't scream. Maybe he couldn't. His frail arms flailed weakly as the icy water closed over him. Isla dove beneath him, her sleek back nudging him upward until his face broke the surface. Carefully, she adjusted, her body becoming a living raft. The boy coughed, his chest heaving shallow breaths. His trembling fingers found her dorsal fin, gripping weakly. She clicked softly, almost soothingly, her sonar scanning for something, anything that could help. But there was no boat, no land, just the open sea. The pod approached cautiously, their calls uncertain. They circled Isla, watching as she cradled the fragile child. This wasn't a seal or a struggling whale. This was human. Who was this boy and why was he here? The child's shivering worsened, his body limp against Isla's back. Time was slipping away. Isla clicked rapidly, her sonar finally catching an echo, a faint outline of land in the far distance. It was far, but it was something. She turned, her powerful tail propelling them forward. Her pod followed, chirping nervously, but Isla's focus stayed on the boy. She adjusted her movements, careful not to jostle him, knowing that every moment counted. But then she felt it. What lurks when the ocean turns cold? The water grew heavier, colder. A ripple brushed past her side. She dove briefly, her sonar bouncing off dark shapes below. Sharks. Sleek bodies circled beneath them, moving with predatory grace. The scent of the boy's fragile state had drawn them. Isla's heart quickened. She sped up, her tail creating ripples in her wake. But the sharks were faster. One darted closer, its shadow growing beneath her. Isla let out a piercing call, her pod responding immediately. The younger orcas formed a protective circle around her and the boy, their movements synchronized and sharp. Would this be the end of the boy? The first shark struck, its jaws snapping just beneath Isla's tail. She twisted sharply, her massive body shielding the boy. Another shark lunged, but one of the younger orcas rammed it with enough force to send it spiraling away. The water churned with chaos, black fins, snapping teeth, and flashes of white bellies. Blood, Isla's own, tinged the water as she struck one predator after another. But the sharks were relentless. And then it came, the largest shark of them all. Its pale belly gleamed as it rose slowly from the depths, calculating, waiting for the perfect moment to strike. Isla braced herself. When it lunged, she struck back, her tail colliding with the predator's snout. The impact sent the boy sliding. For one heart-stopping second, he was airborne. What would you do if everything hung on a single moment? Isla surged upward, her powerful body catching the boy before he hit the water. He landed softly on her back, his fingers instinctively gripping her dorsal fin once more, but his grip was weaker now. His small head drooped forward, his breaths faint. She couldn't fight the sharks forever, and she couldn't save him if she stayed here. With a mournful whistle, Isla ordered her pod to scatter. They hesitated for only a moment before obeying, their sleek forms drawing the sharks away. Isla was alone now, just her and the boy. Could she reach safety in time? The shoreline grew closer, jagged rocks jutting from the waves, but the current pulled against her, as though the sea itself wanted to keep her from reaching land. The boy was slipping further into unconsciousness. His small body was cold, too cold. Isla clicked again, her sonar reaching ahead. She detected movement near the rocks, a human figure, 2, maybe 3. The boy stirred faintly, his lips parting as he whispered one word: help. Would humans answer the call? The figures on the rocks moved closer. One, a man, scrambled down toward the water, shouting to the others. A child followed, her small hands pointing toward Isla and the boy. The man stopped when he saw them, a massive orca, the child draped limply across her back. The man waded into the shallows, his steps cautious but determined. Isla stayed still, her dark eyes watching him carefully. He reached out with trembling hands and lifted the boy from her back. The boy's chest rose faintly. A breath. Life. Would the boy survive beyond the waves? As the humans retreated to safety, the child on the rocks turned back toward Isla. Their eyes met, human and orca, bridging two worlds for a fleeting moment. Did you save him? The child whispered. Isla let out a soft whistle. The child smiled faintly, a mixture of wonder and gratitude. But as the humans disappeared into the trees, Isla turned back toward the open ocean. Something was stirring in the depths. A faint hum vibrated through the water, mechanical, unnatural. What did the ocean know that humans couldn't see? Isla dove deep, her sonar reaching into the trench below. And there it was. A strange object embedded in the seafloor, glowing faintly. The hum grew louder, vibrating through her body. And then something moved. Sometimes the ocean takes, but sometimes it chooses to give. As Isla disappeared into the deep, the faint whispers of the boy's voice lingered in the air. They found it. And now, it's awake. Isla's body glided through the cold, dark depths of the ocean, her fins cutting through the water as the strange, mechanical vibrations still surrounded her. Her sonar scanned intensely, the constant hum seeming to grow stronger the further she descended. Her instincts told her something was hidden in the darkness, something that should not exist in this pristine world. Deeper and deeper. Where light could never reach, Isla felt the ocean change. It was as though the ocean itself was withdrawing, its colder, darker waters embracing her like an ancient memory. The pulsing vibrations were clearer now, growing louder in her ears. What was this? What had the ocean concealed, hidden from the eyes of both man and creature? In the distance, she saw it. A glow, faint and pulsing, deep in the seabed. An object that seemed to breathe with the ocean, a strange artifact that sparked both confusion and curiosity within her. It was not a natural object, no shell or stone that the ocean had offered. It appeared to be something artificial, something that didn't belong in this world. Isla pulled her fins close to her body and swam closer. Her sense of safety was gone, replaced by a yearning for answers. What had her sonar felt? What was causing the inexplicable resonance in the water? The glow grew stronger, stronger still until the entire object disappeared from her sight, hidden beneath the dust of the ocean floor. Isla began to move the earth around it carefully, using her powerful muscles to pull the obstacle from its hiding place. Suddenly, she stopped. Her sonar had detected something. A trembling response, a movement, a sound. Not the call of a creature, but the whisper of something else. Something that might have been lying dormant in the ocean for centuries. She felt the tension in the water around her as the object, once so still, suddenly began to change. Was this it? It was like a key revealing itself to her. But the question remained. What door did it open? And would she ever understand why it gave the ocean such strange energy? Deeper into the depths, Isla's curiosity had now turned into not just determination, but an unmistakable call for understanding. She needed to listen to the ocean, to uncover the hidden stories that had remained untold for so long, and she would not stop, not until she had found what the ocean wanted her to know. But the question that lingered in her mind was this a gift or a warning? Isla's fins sliced through the dark water with a new sense of urgency. The strange, pulsing hum had become almost deafening now, vibrating through her body with an intensity that made her skin tingle. The glow from the object beneath her illuminated the shadows of the deep, casting an eerie light that seemed unnatural, as if the ocean itself was holding its breath. She approached the glowing object carefully, her sonar scanning it repeatedly, but no answers came, only that same disturbing hum, growing louder the closer she got. It was as if the ocean had drawn a boundary around this object, an invisible line that Isla had crossed. Yet she still couldn't comprehend what lay beneath. With a swift flick of her tail, she circled the object, her eyes narrowing. It was no rock, no coral, no natural formation. It was a dark, metallic shape, jagged, yet smooth, as though something had forced it into the earth itself. Isla nudged it gently with her snout, and the hum shifted. The sound reverberated off the walls of the trench, creating a low, unsettling vibration that traveled through the very bones of the ocean floor. Suddenly, a flash of light exploded from the object, nearly blinding her. Isla jerked back instinctively, her heart racing as the glowing intensified, shooting a strange beam of light toward the surface. She felt a powerful force pulling her toward it, like an invisible hand trying to drag her closer. Her instincts screamed at her to flee, but she couldn't. She was drawn to it, as though the ocean itself had marked her as its chosen. With a shudder, the object began to move, shifting slightly in the sand. The hum grew frantic, then ceased altogether. In the eerie silence that followed, Isla hovered, uncertain of what would happen next. Then it came. The sound. Faint at first, like a whisper in the water, but it was unmistakable. A voice. No, it wasn't a voice at all. It was a signal. A deep, mechanical rhythm that echoed through the water, unlike anything Isla had ever heard before. It was a language, but not one that belonged to any creature she had encountered. It was something else entirely. The ocean was speaking to her. Isla's body tensed. She had heard stories from older orcas, legends passed down from pod to pod. They spoke of ancient times when the ocean had been different, alive in ways they no longer understood. It was said that there were forces beneath the sea, forces beyond even their comprehension, ones that could control the very tides and the creatures within it. And now it seemed she was about to encounter one of them. A sharp crack pierced the silence and Isla froze. Something shifted in the depths beneath her, something huge, far larger than any shark or whale she had ever encountered. A shadow loomed, and the water seemed to bend around it. Isla's sonar sent out an urgent pulse, but the reading was distorted, unclear. The creature below her was not just large, it was ancient. It had been lying in wait, and now it was stirring. Her heart pounded as the shape beneath the dark waters shifted again, a vast, powerful form rising from the depths. It was not a creature of flesh and bone, but something far older, something of the ocean's forgotten past. Isla's instincts told her to flee, to return to her pod, but the object above her pulsed again, and she hesitated. The hum had ceased, and in its place there was a silence so thick, it felt like the ocean itself was holding its breath. "Isla!" a voice echoed through the water, soft and clear. "You are here. You have awakened us." Her heart stilled. The voice was not the voice of a creature, but something far more ancient, deep within the earth. It was a voice that had been dormant for centuries. "Who are you?" Isla clicked softly, her sonar reaching out for answers. The voice did not answer directly. Instead, the hum began again, low and reverberating, pulling at Isla's very soul. She could feel it in her bones, in the very current of the water around her. "We are the Watchers. We are the keepers of the ocean's secrets." Isla's mind reeled. Watchers? Keepers? The legends were real? She had heard whispers of these beings before, ancient, powerful creatures said to guard the deepest parts of the ocean. But she had always thought them to be myths, stories told by the elders to keep the young ones from venturing too far into the unknown. But now, standing on the edge of discovery, Isla realized that the myths were true, and she had awakened something ancient, something powerful, deep within the ocean's heart. As the water around her shimmered, she felt the weight of the moment. She was no longer just Isla the Orca, part of a pod swimming with the tides. She was something more. She was the one who had heard the call, and now the ocean was calling her to understand its mysteries, its deepest, darkest secrets. But what did it want from her? The shadows beneath her stirred again, and the hum grew louder. The ocean was awakening, and with it, Isla's journey had only just begun. The hum grew louder, pulling Isla deeper into the abyss. She glanced back, her pod a distant memory, and dove into the unknown. The ocean had secrets, ancient and powerful, and Isla was ready to uncover them. She wasn't just an orca anymore. She was part of something much greater.